La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
You know what day it is? Inner Wealth Podcast. Meditate and give. So manifest the greater this. And things all good cause I say it is. Invest in your inner wealth. Real generational wealth is mental health. It's an inside game, no toxicity. Let's talk and more listening. Ladies and gentlemen, and now introducing David McCullar, founder of Inception, the first mental health gym.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Inner Wealth Podcast. Got a special guest in the building. Got my bro here.
What up?
Ty Mop. What's up, man? What up, though?
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? You know, when you bring in people from Detroit, you got to greet them like that.
Everything is what up, though. Every guest I bring, they be like, what? I'm like,
I know.
What up, though?
I know, unless you bring somebody from Detroit.
So here how we going to start on that. When you remember a point in time when What Up, Though wasn't super commercialized like it is.
No, because it was more like in your neighborhood.
Yeah, just in the hood.
It was a greeting.
Yeah.
Now people say what up though is everything. Like a lot of people when they say it, they put a question mark on it. Like when they say what up though. Like
yeah, it's not like what up and then here's your response, right? It's just what up though.
It's a greeting.
Yeah.
It's a greeting. Well, you know what though? Let me clarify that too, because it can also be like, I didn't see people getting ready to fight.
Like what up though?
What up though? So it's like it could be.
Right. But that's still.
Yeah.
That's a call of what we doing.
It's funny. It's funny when we see people from out of town say it now.
Bro, I saw a podcast. Somebody had it. It's a podcast, What Up Doe podcast. It's in Florida. THOUGH. And you know how when they say it doesn't sound like what up though. You know, it's like what up though. You know.
Now you know what I came to you with a couple years ago, what I wanted to do.
Oh yeah. So you can't talk about that now?
Nah.
Okay.
Because we ain't done it yet.
I didn't know if it was applicable.
Man, if we was to do that, just with the acronym of that,
well,
the marketing alone.
Where you at? Where is that?
We
talk about some business. So
right.
When you know, Ty, when I think about you, bro, when I see all the stuff that you're doing and your accomplishments, you're a designer. You've been a designer for how many years?
Really, I've been designing stuff since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So like I was that kid because you know I came up in the late 70s, early 80s. So we didn't have all the luxuries that they got now. So all you did, you went outside and played, and you played all day, and you came home and you drawed and do whatever you do. So I started off drawing sneakers, you know, and I always wanted to design a sneaker, and I always had a passion for sports. So I always wanted to design sportswear, and of course, all of my local favorite teams. You know, I'm a homer, so it's like, you know, I love all the local sports teams.
It's hard for me to do that.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. It was hard, but then I may have a couple of outside teams that I root for. Like I am a Laker fan.
Okay.
But I was a Laker fan ever since Magic Johnson.
And how was that growing up in Detroit, being a Laker fan?
You know what? You'd be surprised. It's a lot of Laker fans. A lot of them. So when you go to like when the Pistons play the Lakers, I would say it's 70% Lakers there.
What now?
Fans, even to this day.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, of course you got the #1 franchise in sports,
but it's just that following. Just like in football, you know, you have, you know, teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers. They fans travel.
Yeah.
So they have a large following too. But I think when it comes to, you know, basketball, you know, my team was always, let's say it was the Pistons 1A, Lakers 1B. Because I'm from here. But Magic Johnson has always been my favorite basketball
player. Magic Johnson is from here.
From Lansing.
So that give you permission.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, I grew up, you know, watching Magic. So Magic was my favorite basketball player. So I started loving the Lakers. And it was tough because, you know, when we played them in the finals, I just had to sit back and just watch. I didn't root for nobody.
Right. Just looking for the outcome.
Just looking for the outcome.
You grew up around a lot of guys who actually became successful in sports too.
Yeah. So I grew up in an area where we had the same neighborhood as Jerome Bettis. He's a Hall of Fame pro football player.
Yep.
One of my good friends, my brother, is Jalen Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And, we went to the great Detroit Southwestern together. When you say that, you got to say the whole title, the great Detroit Southwestern High School.
That Coach Perry was there too, right?
Yes, sir. And he's the GOAT of high school basketball.
That's my guy, man.
So I'm biased.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it firsthand, and in the beginning, we was always like the runner-up in a lot of things. But then when we finally won it, I tell Jalen all the time, like, I know he did the Fab Five documentary, but he need to stop playing and do the Detroit Southwestern documentary because there's so much history of Detroit Southwestern because no high school, from when Perry took over to when he left, produced more Division I college athletes than Detroit Southwestern.
Who all went to Southwest? Who went to the league?
Oh, you got the first one you had Bill Jones, then you had Anderson Hunt. He had a stint in the NBA, and you had really the three most dominant people that you would know from Southwestern is of course Jalen Rose, Voshawn Leonard, and Howard Isley.
I remember Howard Isley.
So
Howard Isley used to play for
Boston College.
Okay.
Yeah, but he went to Boston College and
he played in Utah.
He used to play for Utah.
Yeah.
So you got to imagine that 1990 team. We had 3 NBA players on that team. You had Jalen, Voshawn, and Howard.
Yeah.
And so, but Division I or even college, Perry put more kids through that, and he had them prepared not just for basketball. He had them prepared academically too. So a lot of guys, they flourish because in some point, like my brother Terrence Wheeler, T. Will. Terrence Wheeler always say that, Perry became more of a father figure to them than a lot of them didn't have fathers in the home.
No, I know Perry, so I know that energy that Perry has. He's always, every time I've been around him, it's just cool, man. But at the same time, you can tell like that era we grew up in, like my dad, man, just got that old school wisdom, man. Gonna make sure you do right. Not gonna beat you too hard over what you do that's wrong. They understand, but at the same time, they gonna guide you.
And he had that sense of authority where you listen and you hung on to every word he said because it's like because Perry was my high school counselor.
Oh, really?
So he was a basketball coach and a counselor.
Okay.
So it's like at Southwestern, we always had that swag where we was, we had great basketball teams, but we also had the attitude that we was like the basketball team because of Perry. Perry talked to us the same way he talked to his team. He teach us the same way he taught his team.
So here it is too, because you do take on the persona of the school you go to. Obviously, you're collecting that energy there. And I went to DePores.
You went to where?
I went to DePores.
I'm sorry to hear that, but go ahead.
No,
we all couldn't go to Southwestern. I get it.
You're not sorry that I went to DePores. DP produced some monsters.
Yeah,
you know that.
Willie Burton,
Kevin Glenn.
Yeah.
Aloysius Anaganye.
Yes, sir.
Who else did we produce? I mean, and that's football and basketball. That we were doing that.
That was Southwestern Junior.
Southwestern Junior.
Yeah.
We were Southwestern, probably Catholic. Southwestern is not a Catholic school, right?
Benny wasn't good back in those days.
Who?
Benedictine.
Who?
I'm sorry. My fault.
Look, bro. When people say DePores, that's just a championship caliber school. So growing up in that era, because you grew up in the 80s, 90s. What year were you born?
72. I just turned 50 last week.
Oh, man. Happy birthday, bro.
Thank you.
So you grew up, I mean, you're 8 years older than me, but we still grew up in the same era.
Right.
What is it about you in trying to preserve these eras?
The one thing about it is that you don't really have to preserve it too much. Because when something is real and is organic, it always come back around anyway. Even with the fashion, with the music. That's why nowadays you can still, my son is 26 and he's been listening to The Temptations and New Edition and everybody since he was a kid because he grew up listening to what I was listening to.
That's because of you.
Right. So it's timeless music.
Right.
So when it's, you got New Edition. Shout out to my brother Michael Bivens. You got New Edition that's getting ready to do this world tour again and everybody's going crazy over it. because it's timeless music. So when it's something real and organic, like fashion, sports teams like Starter is always going to bring out emotion and goosebumps, and because it causes a memory.
So let's talk about that though, because I'm actually labeling this episode the healing power of nostalgia.
There you go, boom, perfect.
Because that I don't know if you know, but that's what you do. You're preserving a time.
Okay.
Nostalgia is healing for us.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's why we want to when we hear those things. You ever seen someone who had like Alzheimer's or dementia where they'll play a song from their time and those brain patterns all light up and they may not remember anything that's present.
Right.
But when they hear that, something clicks on in their brain where
right.
they're back in that time.
You're right.
And you posted something some years ago probably and it was like, it was the Gore-Tex, man.
Yeah, the Rockport Gore-Tex.
The black ones was cool, but
But people wanted to be from
the
brown
ones. You wanted the brown ones,
Yeah, the
man.
brown ones, yeah.
And that just took me back to high school real quick.
Yeah.
And I had that reaction.
Well, you know what? That's something that I was taught a long time ago. It's like whenever you want to put out a product or when you want to do something, you want to make sure you can pull the heartstrings. Because let's just say, I'll say 99.9% of a purchase is an emotional buy.
Right.
It's an emotional buy. You know, you want it and it becomes addictive. And some people have thousands of shoes. I was one of them. You know, where you looked up and you had 1,000.
You're a sneakerhead?
You know what? I think
you gotta stop tapping.
Oh, I get okay, but you know what? I think that term is not real anymore.
Why do you say that?
Because when people say sneakerhead, they only focus on one brand,
like Jordans,
like that. Yeah. But a sneakerhead has all brands, all types of shoes, and all that stuff. So, like with me, I'm a big fan of 80s and 90s basketball sneakers. Like the Air Force 2s, Air Force 3s, the Safari Forces, the Alpha Forces, all that stuff. So Avia, all that stuff. So I'm a fan of 80s and 90s basketball. Now, if I wear them out, the younger cat may be like, "Oh man, you an old head. You ain't no sneakerhead. You ain't got the newest Jordans." To me,
the new Jordans, they not. Is that because we're older? We can't get with the new stuff. But I think last year Jordan did put out a pair that I thought was pretty nice. This Zion was wearing them. You don't even remember them.
Yeah.
But for the most part, after we get past a certain number, like retirement age of Jordan, it's like, yeah.
But see, that's like with me. It got redundant with me because I got and I've been blessed. I've been blessed that they send me stuff.
Who is that?
They send me stuff.
Everybody.
So it's like when you look up, you accumulate. Before you know it, you got 30 to 40 pair of shoes been sent to you in 1 week by different companies. And of course, Jordan was one of them. And I would look at them and I said, I know I'm never going to wear these. So, you know, thank God my nephew and my son wear my size, so they come and get all my stuff. But with me, if you see me wear a pair of Jordans on now, it's ones that he actually wore. Because that tied better emotion to me than anything else. Like the retro ones. If you see me in any retro ones, it's the ones he actually wore. I'm not about to do the Oregon Duck colorway of the retro ones. I'm not about to do the North Carolina Tar Heel retro 3s. You know, I'm not about to do all that. Now I may do Michigan because I bleed maize and blue. But I've learned to cut back where it's like, you know what? I'm only going to do the colors he wore. That's it. Everything else is redundant. Me, I'll do a white on white pair of Puma GVs all day. That's my new go-to show. I mean, shoot, and it's been like that for a couple years. You know, so when you say sneakerhead, I think it depends on who you ask what is a sneakerhead. Because people nowadays think you gorge all retro Jordans and that makes you a sneakerhead, but they don't.
I remember East Bay magazine.
You used to fiend for that to come in the mail. You couldn't wait. It was like a release thing. You hurry up and get them, and you look and you circle what you want.
You circle what you want. You may not get them.
No, you ain't
gonna
get them.
But it was just a fact that's like that. I was telling T Barb. I don't know if you know T Barb. We were talking about the old J.C. Penney catalog.
The Toys R Us catalogs around Christmas time.
Like that.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
In my area, it was Sears.
I used to look at all of them.
Yeah.
No, I used to get those thick books. They was the size of damn yellow pages, but they were all in color.
Yes.
And you would go through.
Yes.
And look at your toys or whatever. And you had Sears, but JCPenney started killing it after a while.
Well, to me, it was Sears because Sears used to always have the NFL gear.
Okay.
So, like I said, I looked at all those.
Well, Ken, that goes back to you were older. Like I wasn't looking at clothes in those books. I'm looking at toys. You know.
I thought you were about to say something else.
What?
Back in the day, I know guys used to go to the lingerie section and look at women there. That was a first.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I went through past that. I mean, we used to look at the Fredericks of Hollywood magazines, you know.
But that was the closest you could get as a kid and get away with.
Yeah, for sure.
You'd be like, oh wow, so that's
that
what
that makes me think about something to talk about because you're in fashion and have been.
Right.
You've observed, and we both have observed this, and I want you to tell me what is your feelings on observing the change of how we went from fully clothed, baggy clothed to damn near naked.
It's just the way the culture is now. And I hate using the word culture because when people come to me and be like, man, you doing it for the culture. No, I'm doing it for the heritage. It's a difference between heritage and culture. Culture is temporary. Heritage is forever. Mm-hmm. That's why when you see stuff revolve around, that's heritage. Mm-hmm. And culture just adapted. To me, culture makes a lot of things corny. Because when they say do it for the culture.
Because it depends on, when we talk about the culture, who was infiltrating the culture? It wasn't us. We weren't the business owners. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, the Crocodiles and the cross colors and the used and all of that. But what's his name said was very, very interesting. Jim Jones.
Oh, Jim Jones, yeah.
My mind is totally blank. So Jim Jones was on EYL and he was talking about, he was like, we didn't want to wear no Crocodile and all. We want the real stuff. Because they were saying Crocodile and all that was mocking the other stuff, which was not black owned.
No. And you know what? I'm glad you said that too, because one of my first role models in this game was Maurice Malone. I've literally seen when I started my career at Strictly Sportswear, Maurice Malone used to come back there in Strictly's back room and sold pants, his own pants, and that's how he put out his clothing line. So I just find it funny, you know, and shout out to Jim, but when it's one of us that's trying to do something, we always think that it's not good enough, because now if a person wear Crocodile or even wear Maurice Malone, they get laughed at. Or people are like, oh man, that's played out. That's not in style. But yet, Tommy Hilfiger,
but
Ralph Lauren, been doing the same stuff for years. Say this. So why is it that Tommy Hilfiger and Ralph Lauren is timeless?
Yeah.
But Crocodile and Maurice Malone has a time limit. Because when you see it, oh man, timeless collection from Tommy Hilfiger, timeless collection from Ralph Lauren. But when it comes to our black designers, it's a time limit. You know?
90, 92, 93, I went from Carl Kanai. Then next, you know, for whatever reason, because you're not even old enough to have consciousness about what's happening in that era, that time.
Because it wasn't heavy influence like how it is now.
But Carl Kanai, to me, that was the thing.
Yeah.
Use cross colors, and then it was right around 7th grade. Again, that's about 93 for me. All of a sudden, we switching and we going Tommy, Nautica. We start abandoning that. Yeah, we were looking like we were golfers, man. Like we was Rockports. You know, Coogee is an old white man sweater. People don't know that. That's an Australian sweater.
Yeah.
Cartier is an old jewelry line for white people. People don't know that.
Let's talk about this. I'm glad you brought that up about Cartier. Do you know if you go in the original and like the more upper scale, Cartier stores.
They don't sell those glasses.
No, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
I lived in Miami for 6 years, and I went to the Cartier store for the first time. This is around 2001.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in. I was like, first, Cartier, they got a store?
And we're not even pronouncing it right.
We're not even pronouncing it right. We pronounce Cardis.
Cardis.
We get, like with a D. Cardis. Right. Got the Cardis.
Right.
But 2001, guys, I remember a young guy got shot and killed wearing Cartier sunglasses. Mm-hmm. But I go into the store. I don't see no glasses. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh, they got watches. They got everything. So it really changed the way how I saw things. And I saw, why is it that we always take other people culture stuff and we make it hot, but we don't make our own stuff as hot? Because back down to that thing. Why is it our stuff has a time limit? Mm-hmm. Why is Sean John not, like Jim say, we ain't wearing no Sean John. It's like people were wearing those things. Maybe he wasn't because one, he's a hustler. He got money to spend on all the Averex and the Iceberg. Remember all that stuff too?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Andrex is back now.
Like I said, he wasn't wearing Rockaware. We didn't want that. He wanted the real stuff because Rockaware was supposedly the knockoff all this stuff. But yeah, it was just interesting seeing that transition of timeline that we've been going through.
But that's like I said, you know, when they speak of Tommy Hilfiger and Ralph Lauren, they're timeless. When it comes to Maurice Malone and Carl Kanai, it's a time limit. And shout out Carl Kanai. I can still call Carl right now, and he still gives me advice about things. And I've been blessed to have mentors like a Carl Kanai and a Maurice Malone. That when I get frustrated or when I don't see nothing happening how I think it should happen, you know, they talk to me a lot. So I've been blessed. Like I said, I've been doing this now. This is my 90, 2010. Whew, we looking at my fourth decade in fashion. Because I started in the 90s, mid 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Now we in 2020s. So it's my fourth decade. So I didn't seen it all. You know, and you know, I really feel like the baggy stage of clothes is coming back now because it's already happening overseas.
Really,
and you can see it now with some of the clothes that these guys wear now. It's kind of like taper, but then it's starting to flare out at the bottom again. I'm not saying bell bottoms.
It's like remember bell bottoms, and then they came back in a certain way.
Yeah. But the baggier clothes are coming back. They're doing it overseas now.
You remember those pants, guys? People used to wear with the suede on the front.
Yep.
What was those called? I can't remember.
It was so many different companies that did it. I remember back in the day, a company named AJ was the first one to do it. And people was always, I gotta get a pair of AJs. Because AJ's was known for the denim and the acid wash and to add the applique on the jeans, which like the suede and all that as well too. Yeah. So
how did you get connected with Starter to do what you're doing?
Well, shout out to another pioneer. Her name is April Walker. So she had a clothing line called, well, she still have it, and it's called Walker Wear. Her last name and Wear. So if you will Google her, you'll see people like Pac, Biggie, all wore her hockey jersey, all wore her brand. And I've been on April for a long time because we used to buy her stuff when I used to work at Strictly Sportswear. So I seen that she posted a picture of her wearing this Beverly Hills Cop jacket, which is the Detroit Lions jacket, the wool one with the leather and all that. And I said, yo, I need one of those. How can I get one of those? And she was like, oh, I'll set you up with the guy who makes them and all that. And it just so happens to be that that person was Carl Banks, and he was the president of G3 and Starter. So the thing about Carl Banks is, you know, he's from Flint, Michigan. So we had a tie there almost, and he went to Michigan State University. He played football there. He was in the Ring of Honor there, and he won 2 Super Bowls in the 80s and 90s with the New York Giants. So I already knew about Carl Banks because he's from Michigan. He's from Flint. So she set up the conversation. We was talking. I was like, hey, man, I really want one of those jackets. And he was like, oh, no problem. I'll send you one. Send me your address, and I got you. And so when it came in, I did more research on him, and I saw that he was the president of Starter. And at that time, Starter was just now making a comeback. Because for a while, Starter was more of a European brand or Walmart, things like that. Not necessarily the jackets, but the brand. So like socks, underwear, shoes, things like that. So I had a conversation with him, and I was like, hey, man, how can I, do something with you? Maybe do a jacket. And at this time, I had just joined Mr. Allen's. So I was the brand ambassador there. I was head of marketing there, and I was also footwear and apparel buyer there. So I had a lot of hats I was wearing there. And I said, you know what? How can I do a collab with you with that? He was like, what you got in mind? So I pitched him the ideas. Of course, I'm going to do the 3 home teams. I did Pistons, Lions, and Red Wings. And I gave him the idea, and he was like, okay, well, you got to do this certain amount to do an SMU. And I said, so what am I going to do to make it different? And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my logo inside the jacket. Because once again, when you bring out sports jackets, when you do stuff like that, it pulls an emotion. So we gave it a run, and it's been running ever since.
Why do you think that did so well?
Well, because once again, it was an emotion, and I wanted to do something different. And this was in 2014. So I said, I got to do something different. I don't want it to be like just hey, I got this jacket coming out, cool. I said, let me put a release date on it and let me market. Now, during this time, Facebook was more attractive than Instagram.
Right.
So Instagram was on the way up, but I still had Facebook. So I said, let me, at the time I was cool with a couple of players that played on the Lions, like Nate Burleson, Calvin Johnson, Cliff Averill. So what I would do was I would get Nate a jacket to wear, and I said, yo, just send me a picture of you with it to validate it and stamp it. And so him, Cliff, CJ, I will always get pictures of them wearing it. So then I said, okay, we're going to put a release date on it. Gave some to the DJ. So I promoted it like I had an album coming out. Because I had it like I had an album coming out, and I also treated it like it was a sneaker release. And so one thing about product, people always want what they can't have right now. What do you mean I can't buy it right now? Oh, man, I got to have it. I got to have it. The anticipation, the anxiety of buying.
Right.
And we put a release date on it. I did a whole market tour with it, had people shout it out on the radio, DJ BJ, Dr. Darius, everybody shouted it out. And it just grew into something where when it came out, I was nervous because I was like, this may flop. Because, come on now, I'm doing a jacket and I put a release date on it.
Was that the resurgence of it, you think?
Yes.
Because like you said, it was a time where Starter went through that too.
Yeah.
Where we went through the whole, like, I remember Pac with the UNLV Starter jacket.
Brenda got a baby.
Brenda got a baby.
Yeah.
And from that point, we all want to start a jacket.
Yeah, the iconic picture of LL Cool J with the New York Mets jacket on with the big boombox radio. Every moment. So
and then it stopped at a certain time where it just became.
Then
like,
our uncle started wearing
it was one specific jacket, coat.
Yeah,
is the coat that had the zipper on the side
and
that
with
we
the pouch
had.
Packet.
Yep,
the pouch packet. Yeah,
that
pullover.
was it. And shout out to Royce.
Yeah,
who did the song Starter Coat.
Yeah,
and again back to that nostalgia, man. It takes you back. And
it brings an emotion,
right?
And it takes you back to a time where it was good. Some people, once again, you had the conversations. Oh man, I remember that jacket. My uncle used to have it. He was getting money. My uncle was doing this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So once again,
that was a drug dealer's coat too.
Well, yeah. So once again, it was a sense of accomplishment. It was a sense. It was a trophy. Oh man, you see, you got the new Philadelphia 70. And I'm gonna tell you a story about this one. A couple years ago, I did a Philadelphia 76er jacket, right? And I called it the Redemption Jacket. The reason why I call it that is because back in 86, 87, I had the original Philadelphia Sixer starter jacket. And I got robbed for it.
I was about to say, too, we got to talk about how popular we've made things till we want to take them from each other. And I already said the Cartier starter coats. My mom didn't want to buy me a starter coat at first. My mom didn't want to buy me Jordans at first.
Right.
Either.
Right.
Because that was really, and Troop.
Yep. Troop.
8-ball jackets.
Yeah.
Pelly Pals.
All that
you
stuff.
heard that. I've never met somebody who was like, yeah, they robbed me or whatever, but you heard.
Oh, you met somebody now. I'm about to tell you.
But you heard it, though.
Oh, yeah, you hear it, and you'd be like, hey, don't wear that coat up the street.
Right.
Make sure everybody with you when you wear your coat.
Right. I only can wear my coat to school.
Yeah. And then you had to worry about somebody breaking in your locker because I had a coat taken from school before. So it's like when I did the Sixer jacket, and I was like, it's funny how things come full circle. And that's why I call it the redemption pack, because it's like I heard those 3 words that every Detroiter cringe when they hear it being said. You got 3 words that's happiness that say, what up, though? But the other 3 words you never want to hear is
Run your shit.
Check it in. Check it in.
Yeah.
Check it in. It's just like, and there was nothing I could do because I was outnumbered. It was me and my friend, his name is Deshaun, and he had a sweet California Angel jacket on. And I had the Sixer jacket on. That was the most popular starter jacket at the time besides the Boston Celtic one. So yeah, I got robbed in it, and here I am 30 plus years later. Now I'm redesigning it and putting it out to sell again. And of course, I made sure I was the first one with it. I like, they ain't gonna check this one in, so it's just funny how, once again, how you say things come full circle. So now guess what? The culture may have adapted it, but it came from heritage. And that's why I tell people all the time.
It wasn't new.
It wasn't new.
Brought it back.
I brought it back.
Yeah.
And culture.
You're a preserver.
Okay. If that's what you want to call it?
You're a preserver of time. You're like, you're preserving an era.
Right.
That, I don't see it until I see Ty.
Right.
And then that makes me.
Right.
And so that goes along too when people see you.
Right.
They have a feeling about you, like, oh yeah. Like that's Ty Mop.
Yeah, he represented for us.
It's not just about starter, it's about you Detroit.
Everything. Everything.
Detroit,
everything.
You street.
Yeah.
You fashion.
Yeah.
You sports.
Yeah.
You all those things in one, and that's your brand, bro. You rock that to the fullest,
And sometimes people used to always say, yo, man, you got to do more than just Detroit, man. You boxing yourself in. But look what I did. I made it cool to wear Detroit stuff everywhere. Because if you look and you've been following me. Exactly.
With the Detroit.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
He inboxed me. How can I get that? I need that jacket. So I had all these people. Jeezy. What Jeezy, honorary Detroiter anyway.
Yeah.
So
and Fabulous is he was really into jerseys.
Yeah.
Remember that run?
The whole run with Mitchell and Ness. Yeah. So it's like it fascinated people to see Gucci Man wear one. Like you say, Fat Joe wear one. Bun B. So you got all these people that would rep their home city. Now they're wearing Detroit stuff. So it brings a bigger attention to the city.
Because we were doing that.
Oh, we was wearing other people's stuff like it was nothing.
We weren't rocking Detroit like Raiders,
Yankees.
That was Yankees,
yeah.
Raiders. But for me, Raiders was like that when NWA got to that point.
Raiders,
it was like
Los Angeles
everybody
Kings.
was Raiders. Yep.
Yeah. At one time, you saw more Los Angeles Kings jackets and jerseys on the street than you see Detroit Raiders.
Because it was about the colors.
That's what it was.
It was about the
colors and the movement,
the mood.
Yeah.
Like the Raiders logo with NWA, that connection to that brand made you feel like you was on some thug stuff, whatever. But that was a time and an era when that came.
But that was coming up too. Like when I came up, like people say, "Well, who inspired you?" Well, the drug dealers did.
Yeah,
the hustlers did,
because they had the money to buy the stuff.
And you look at that, and you thought that was a way of life. A way of accomplishments. Like, oh man, he made it. He got on the new Adidas top 10s. Yeah. He got on the fresh pair of Levi's. You know what I'm saying? And he got the Raider hat with the starter jacket. Right. So we thought that was success.
Yeah.
Those are our first role models. I tell people all the time, the drug dealers and the street hustlers was my first role model.
If you had a pager,
if you had a sky pager,
right? My mom was like, "You see a pager, like, oh, you drug dealer." Like that was right. This was in the conversation within our culture at that time.
And don't be the first one to come with the big brick phone.
Yeah,
that your phone bill was $1,500 a month.
Oh, dude, my street, Conley, right on 8 Mile, right by Light Guard Armory.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Persian is down that way, all that, right?
Yeah.
And I just remember living over there at that time where it was a drug dealer on the street, directly across the street from us. he wasn't dealing drugs out of the house. He was using the house as
the storage.
No, not even that. I made it.
Okay.
This is like middle class.
Gotcha,
we like middle class brick homes.
Got you.
I made it. But dude, you got a Benz. You got a Ninja motorcycle.
Yeah.
You got an ATV. You got remote control cars. This dude had every toy that a kid would want, and we just on the street like, damn man, what does that dude do? He had a full live band one time come out. Full live band in the backyard.
What?
Yes. And singing Whitney Houston songs, I remember. And they called the police on him because it was like 12 o'clock at night. Full loud band. But years later, the feds came and took all his toys. And we knew. We knew what he was doing. And at a young age, the culture taught you.
But that was your first superhero. It was like, wow. It was the first superstar.
Yeah, because you got a full live band in your backyard. Yeah. He dug up the backyard and laid a basketball court.
Full court? No,
half.
Oh, whew.
My dad did one for me too, but he did one for me, and then the guy across the street copied. Because again, he got money. He got the nice wife.
He was like
the looking wife, got the bad girl.
Yeah.
You know,
she dressed fly.
I remember his daughter riding down the street wearing a Coogee. Little daughter got Coogee. You know, stuff is going on. So that was an interesting time. You know, and now. Do you think people looking up to drug dealers anymore? Because where are you seeing them at like that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Is there any more drug dealers left now? I mean, I'm not gonna say.
I mean, like what type of drugs we talking about?
Well,
get everybody a drug dealer not doing weed.
That's true.
that's
the government said enough. We about to legalize this. It's too much. So it's like, you know, it wasn't how. It just wasn't how when we was kids. Like everything has changed. Like now, remember, everything is so commercialized now, where nothing ever closes.
That's true.
When I was young, stuff closed. TV went off at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You saw the national anthem and you saw snow on your TV for the next 4 hours. Then the national anthem come back on again. Now it's a regular scheduled program. Now TV don't go off. It was a time when everything closed Christmas Eve at 5 p.m. and didn't open back up until the 26th. Now stuff don't close.
After living through that, how do you try to live your life knowing that? Because there are very healthy habits that we had during those times. And I get growth. I get change. But it seems like we abandoned a lot of healthy principles by going through this change and allowing the commercialism to come into the culture and take over. Because it wasn't no collabs back in the day with Tupac and Starter.
What you saw was out.
What they wore, they just wore. They weren't getting paid.
Right. It wasn't no release date on shoes.
Right.
You got to remember, I was in the business when Jordan first came out. It wasn't no release date on Jordan.
By 96 it was.
Yeah, well.
Guys was lining
98,
up.
97,
well, no,
1,
98.
2, 3, 4. So 98. Because you got to remember, I'm at Strictly Sportswear.
Yeah.
So we used to have to order Jordans from the same Nike catalog. And when you look at it, was only one shoe. The Air Jordan 1. Then they came with the Air Jordan 2. And there was no release date on that. When it got delivered, you put it on the shelf. You know, and it's just like, it was on the shelf for at least a couple of weeks because you had with sell through.
Right.
You know, and now it's like, you know, the hype came. And that came from blogs, hype beats, the phone. And that's when they got really hype when people started robbing. Like you said, when you got robbed for them. Oh, I need some of those. Oh, they dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, so, but going back again, it's like everything is just changed. Everything is culture. It's no more heritage. When was the last time that, I mean, you know, it's sad even on my end too, that our family actually had dinner together. Everybody's on the move. Everything is so busy now. Everything is so fast.
There's families out there still do it, but it was a
time when you did it every night.
The problem is the class got wiped out.
Oh yeah,
it's the middle class.
Yeah,
because you don't hear middle class people voices at, you know, it's either you really rich or you really poor and traumatized.
Exactly. There's no middle no more.
No middle, because the conversations that we can have was based on the era that I had 2 parents in the household, you know, married, work full-time jobs. That was not an anomaly. That wasn't like well, you know, everybody they grew up with single mothers. That wasn't like that. Everybody on my street, except for maybe one person, father was in and out, but for the most part. And it wasn't a rich street. It
was a community.
It was a 1,200 square foot house.
Yes.
In Detroit, brick home.
Yes.
And we didn't know no better. And I loved my community. I loved my street. I felt safe. Now, when I start walking blocks.
Once you go there by Persian.
When you start walking across Outer Drive and areas and certain areas, and you walk up Bloom and Monarch, like, okay. But my street had safety built into it. Is that how you grew up, or what was it like?
I grew up on the 12,000 block of Roseline, so that's like right there off of Grand River, Oakman, Elmhurst area. So if you had to know where it was at from a high school, it was like the McKenzie High School District. So, we our block was a little different. I mean, it was the parents there and all that, but we were struggling. So a lot of people received Focus Hope. A lot of people received food stamps. And nobody looked down on one another because we thought that was the way of life. You know, so everybody, you know, watched over each other. You had that one neighbor.
You lived in a neighborhood.
I lived in a neighborhood and not a hood.
You lived
now it's a hood.
Right. You lived in a neighborhood where you knew your neighbor's name and he wasn't just that nigga next door.
Exactly. I don't know him.
Right.
Like right now, I can't tell you my neighbors. I don't know.
I can't tell you my neighbor's name. Well, across the street I can. Right. For the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, where you would get out, if it's snow, you go out and go make some money shoveling snow. You would do stuff, you cut grass. And if you was out of line in the street, the neighbor down the street would chastise you and then go tell your parents what's going on too.
What was vacations like? Did you go on vacations as a kid?
Vacation for me was probably going to Northland.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, think about that, man. Like, it was a big deal for our generation. Cedar Point,
Disney World. If you was lucky.
My mom and dad, they took us to Disney World, but they drove us there. Wasn't no flying.
No.
Wasn't no calling somebody mid-swing. You didn't have a cell phone. You got there when you got there.
You had to look at it as a map.
Right.
You had to look at the map. Yeah. So, we ain't had that luxury growing up. So I think that's why we are so in tune to do it now.
Right.
So when I do things, it's like it's a sense of accomplishment where I couldn't do it when I was a kid. So now it's just like going back to sneakers and clothing and all that. When something come out that somebody wants, they buying 3 pair of them because one pair is to wear, another pair is to put up. The third pair is a sense of accomplishment. Now my childhood is invalidated because I bought these.
How did growing up around people like Jalen and C-Webb and being in that crew, did seeing them and working with Perry and your own mom and dad, what gave you the sense of belief? Because you're doing things that most, it's sad to say, but it's true. Most of the time, we don't believe we can do the things that you're doing.
Right.
So where did you see?
Just by being around it. Like I said, my middle school was liver than some high schools. I went to Tappan Middle School. So it was live. It was a fashion show then. So in the area where my middle school was at, we had notorious gangs and drug dealers, YBI, Young Boys Incorporated. So it was in that area. So I leave Tappan. I was supposed to go to McKenzie. My mom didn't want me to go to McKenzie. She wanted me to go somewhere where I didn't know nobody or things like that because she figured I wasn't going to do nothing. So I shipped all the way across town to Southwestern. Now, you have to catch 2 buses to go to Southwestern. So when I get to Southwestern, come the phase of BMF. Before BMF, it was the 50 Boys. You know, Southwest T, Meach, and all them. So I'm in school with them. So now I see another side of town, but it's the same aura and atmosphere as my middle school. So just being around that area, and then Jalen came around. And a lot of people don't know this. Chris Webber was supposed to go to Southwestern. He was signed to deliver, but that was the year that our school went on strike. And, well, the whole public schools.
That's a big difference from Southwestern to Country Day.
Not really.
No.
I mean,
no.
I mean, atmosphere, but basketball wise,
I mean,
no.
Like, how much did it cost to go to Country Day at that time? That was a thing.
Well, you
too.
get a scholarship.
Yeah, I know.
You got a scholarship.
But I'm just saying, like, he was. I remember C-Webb.
Mm-hmm.
He played at the Palace. It was one of the championship games. My dad took me to see him. He broke the rim. He ain't shattered the backboard, but he broke the rim.
The spring.
Yeah, the spring.
Yeah.
So I still remember that to this day.
Yeah.
But you again, you saw those guys too, because with like Jalen and they were doing what they were doing. Did that? How was that in terms of your mindset? Because at that time, nobody was thinking necessarily like LeBron, like I'm gonna take my guys and put them in these positions.
Right.
Like, how was that?
So let me finish. So going back to Southwestern. So I leave Southwestern, right? And now I always had a sense of fashion. I was always the best dressed big guy. They always say that. Man, for a big guy, you could dress first, man. You remind me of Heavy D. You know, you was sweet because back in those days, I used to dress.
Heavy D.
Yeah, I was Heavy D. I had the nice hair.
Yeah, had no crooked eye though.
Didn't have no crooked eye. I had the mixed kid hair. So I was in like that. And so I always knew how to dress. And so I started working at Strictly Sportswear. And during that time, Strictly Sportswear was the place to go to get all your sweet stuff. People from all around would come to Strictly Sportswear. So just by being in that aura and that element, I already had the cockiness from my middle school. Went to Southwestern, gained the cockiness from that. Now I'm on 7 Mile, the hottest block in America. And every weekend it would take you 3 hours to get 2 blocks because it was called the Strip. So I'm on 7 Mile. So I'm meeting more and more people, and now I'm learning the game. Shout out to the late, great Miss Dorothy Hamlin, who gave me a start at Strictly Sportswear. Her daughter, Kathy, brother Calvin. And now I'm learning fashion. I already knew street. So I already knew what street cats want to wear.
Right.
And they wanted to be the first. So I would have a customer book about the size of a JCPenney catalog. Dog, make sure I get there. Man, when you get this in, you call me first. I want you to put me together because you dress sweet. I want you to put me together. Yeah. So now I had a clientele book of like maybe 100 names from people from all over. East Side, West Side, Southwest, North End, Inkster, Ecorse, Ypsilanti, everywhere. Make sure I got you first. Make sure when that new Coogee come in, make sure I'm the first one with it. When y'all get the Pelly in, call me first and I got you. They would give me $200 or $300. Or they'd be like, they're like, big guy, man, get you one too. Because you made sure I had it first. And I'm like, wow. So now when you get that confidence, now I'm walking around like I'm the superstar. Because I'm going to, back in those days, we had Legends. The nightclub Legends. You
had cabarets then.
Well, cabarets, but the main thing was
is that
like
a Detroit thing too, cabarets?
They do it in Chicago, I think,
really?
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
People don't know about cabarets.
They don't know about cabarets. I think in Cleveland they do it too. Because matter of fact, I know it was a Detroit to Cleveland cabaret that some guy did.
Okay.
So I would be at all the events. Now during this time, here come DC. Derek Coleman. Now him and Jerome Bettis will always have a yearly party at the State Theater.
Yeah.
Then Jalen came around. Chris came around. They would have their draft party at the State Theater. So you was always around this stuff.
You was
had
around
this aura.
This stuff.
Oh, yeah, of course. I was around it. So I knew that once I was going to do my own stuff, I already had the formula. I already knew what to do. I just needed the chance to do it.
Yeah.
And Starter gave me the chance to do it. So and that's how everything, like a match made in heaven. So now when these footwear companies call me or when these apparel companies call me, it's a ticket to talk to me. Yeah. Because I've earned that. I paid my dues.
You've added the value.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm kind of going back to too. Okay. Is like you saw your guys doing well, but you still kept adding value to yourself. It's not like you're trying to live off.
No, never.
Your boys.
Never. Anything they ever done for me was an added extra because I knew. And so that's why when people say, man, you know such and such, you know this person, you know that person, I go through my phone right now and I got at least 30 millionaires in my phone. And I never talk to them about what they do. We talk about life. We talk about religion. We talk about race. We talk about politics. We talk about everything else. And that's why they adapt to me because you got to remember, once again, the first people I saw successful was street guys, was drug dealers that had more money than the actual entertainers. So it's like I've been around famous people all my life. It never fazed me. And I never treated them like that. And I never expected them to do that. One thing about this thing, if people see you trying, they will help you win.
Of course.
Jalen tells me all the time, yo, send me some stuff. I need this. I do that. I never once gave people stuff and say, yo, make sure you tag me or make sure you post me or make sure you shout me out. I don't do it. I don't do that. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
And it's like when you treat them when they not celebrities, they adapt to you even more because they get bombarded with all that stuff all day anyway. They just want to be normal.
Yeah.
You know? I remember there's a time where I'm not going to say the entertainer or the rapper who it is. He said, man, I just wish that I can just go sit down at a Taco Bell and just eat. He said, you think I'm blessed. No, you the one that blessed because you got freedom to go do what you want.
And that's funny because I was talking to Chico and Icewear and Vezo about it.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of goes through, if you've never been around like celebrity type people,
right,
and you're now around that, you start to realize that everybody's going through that same like paradigm shift where they just, everybody's coming to you because they want something from you.
Exactly. Whew.
But if you have value, it's easy to accept you because you built yourself up and you've added value.
Exactly.
The problem is when people want you to do stuff, but you ain't built yourself up enough to add the value.
No.
That's what I tell. When I first talked to Charlemagne, he said, you got what? I got a gym. I got a mental health gym. You got one up? Yeah. It's running.
Yeah.
Fully operational for the last 3 years.
Come see me.
Oh, I'm going to come.
Yeah.
If I just got an idea. People in idea phases, you know.
That's what it is.
And we hear this. Me and you talk about this, and I hear it, and I keep hearing it. I keep hearing it about nobody in Detroit supports me, and it's just like you got to add the value because Jesus wasn't even accepted in his own town.
No.
That's not necessarily just a Detroit thing. That's a wherever your hometown is because people recognize you. So you gotta make some believers outside of your hometown.
And that's true.
And once you make believers outside your hometown, then guess what? Now your hometown back you. But there was always people in your hometown.
There was always people that
it ain't
had
the people
you.
that you
needed.
You wanted per se.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was somebody gave you an opportunity at Strictly Sportswear. Those little
and you take them and you move on. Right.
That lead up to where you are. Not just what do you want? You want Shark Tank? You want to be in front of Shark Tank and just somebody just give you $1 million for something that not worth nothing?
Yeah. And so like people, people say all the time, man, you blew up overnight. No, I didn't. I blew up over several 100,000 nights.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that people always see. People always see the finished project. Oh man, you getting them. You doing them. Nah.
Yeah.
I ain't even halfway where I'm supposed to be. It may look like it to you, but I'm not even halfway where I'm supposed to be. So therefore, when you see me doing stuff, of course, everything that I represent, everything I do, I'm going to try to market that. I'm doing stuff with the Pistons, so I'm going to wear a Piston hat.
Yeah.
I'm doing stuff with Stars, so I'm going to wear a Starter hat. I knew that this was going to be visible, so guess what? You're going to see my name now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you're going to do stuff to get you, to bring more added value to you. And when people see you trying, they will help you.
And you're very particular about who you connect with.
Oh, all day.
Yeah.
It's hard to reach me. And that's not even on no arrogant stuff.
Yeah, but you've learned. See, you were in the game early.
Yeah.
So you learned that.
Yeah.
Did you learn that through?
I learned
getting messed up, getting wrecked from messing with the wrong people?
Yes.
Okay.
I've learned that from, I used to be in the club 50 deep, buying stuff for everybody. The talk of the town, this, all that. Oh yeah, I used to think it was a big deal walking in 20, 30 deep. But that ain't do nothing but made people feel a sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, you know what, let me play back. Let me be low key. So now it's like certain people, and this is not, I swear it's not no arrogant stuff. It's just not. Certain people don't deserve the energy you put out no more. They just don't. Because you know that they're not coming from a righteous place anymore. So people are like, man, I called you. Well, maybe. I don't know if you did. I don't know because I don't look at my phone like that. And when people can't reach me, and my wife hates this. She hates it with a passion. When they try to call me, they call her. Yo, tell Ty, what? Stop having people call me and all that stuff. Because they know that if they can't reach me, they know if they close to us, they can always call my wife.
Yeah.
And get that. She hates it, but she's understand. But
I think that's part of the everybody's journey, that as you build, you got to recognize that's what it is. And I start recognizing it for what it is as I start moving up, because I start moving up, and I'm saying it's even levels to your move up. You know? And yeah, you may get on the Breakfast Club, but you may not get the same type of quick response that if you were Oprah.
And you know what? It's an unfair advantage, because certain things you can get me to do, I won't do. Like, people call me all the time about doing shows and podcasts, but for what? Why? How does it bring value to what we're doing? And let's just be real. Let's just because I seen Magic Johnson made a statement one day. The same amount of energy it takes for you to do $1,000 deal, you can do $1 million deal. And that's not talking about nobody. That's because we all started from the bottom.
Yeah.
My road took a longer route because I didn't cross nobody. I didn't backstab nobody. I did it the right way. And I did it from the ground up. So certain things I can get from you, a lot of people can't get from you. And that's not saying that with this. It's just how it goes.
One-on-one TRE session was, I don't do trauma release sessions with nobody, but I'm like, I got you.
Because you knew it came from a genuine place, and I needed it. I didn't need it because I wanted to say I wanted to do it.
No.
I needed it, and you saw it.
Yeah.
And you said, look, do this, do that. No, stop, do this. And it helped me. So now, guess what? Whenever you call me, I'm going to come. We could be outside, and I'm still going to sit down here and do this with you. Certain people earn that right. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the thing that people, that we live in a world of entitlement, where people feel they're entitled.
Because they haven't built a relationship. They haven't built a rapport. You said you got 30 millionaires in your phone, and you talk about all these different things, and it's like the ask ain't an ask. It's just a relationship. When you do need something, it ain't even really an ask.
Oh yeah, you know? Yeah, so even now, why are you trying to brand your brand? Let's just say and they got to realize, they think I got 100,000 jackets at my house. Oh yeah, I seen old boy with one, man. What happened to your man? You don't look out for your man no more. I'm like, well, have him. Like, if I was manufacturing myself,
you ain't the starter manufacturer,
right? Starter still owns that shit,
right?
You know, so it's like,
right. So it's up to how many
we'll get you something. It may be that.
How many you got to sign that you got to give out to this person, that person. So
and that's what they don't understand. They just think I can go, hey, okay, oh, you want that? I'll be right back. And I got a warehouse full of them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work like that. Now, I tell people all the time, I may not can get you that, but I can get you this.
I'm good whatever you give me, bro.
But you always have, though. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, and those other people be like, wow, now it's a sense of entitlement. And put it like this. I have never asked anybody for anything. Anything. When Jalen was in the league, I didn't ask to go to the games. He will call, hit me, or I will go buy my tickets.
Right.
My brother is in the iconic new edition, Michael Bivens. When he comes to town, I go buy the ticket, and he get mad. Yo, why you ain't tell me? Why?
Yeah, you just doing what you got to do.
You just do it.
Yeah.
You just do it. You know? So that's the one thing that I think destroys a lot of us, and especially here, is people feel they entitled. And I mean,
entitled without doing the work.
Exactly.
And that's not a knock on Detroit. That's a worldwide phenomenon. But I think in America is even more so with the invention of the social and the visuals, and seeing things are moving really fast. And we're gonna talk about this last thing too, which is fashion moving into this world with the NFTs and all that. Like, what's your thoughts on?
I have no thoughts because I don't know none. I try not to even get involved in that because I feel it's a phase. I feel it's a phase. I may be wrong.
It's a phase, bro.
Well, then I need to be more intelligent with it and be taught more about it.
It's not a phase.
Okay. Well, then we got to talk about it.
We do.
You got to let me know. You got to fill me in.
But the good thing is, when people who really had the value, you ain't got to move so fast because you feel like you're not missing out on anything right now.
Okay, cool.
It may seem like
people tell me all the time, man, you need to NFT your logo. I mean, NFT a jacket.
NFTs right now and how they're positions,
right?
People don't even know that they're really kind of worthless, like from a technological standpoint.
So when you say things like that,
you don't own that NFT. OpenSea,
okay,
where it's stored.
Okay. They own it.
They own it. You don't know that. You don't know that though, because you own a link to an address to the document.
Okay.
But you don't own it. Now, technically you own it, but I can go download that thing. But no, it's not listen. It's a whole thing about NFTs that people not familiar with.
Yeah, see, that's
why it's just, again, take your time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking my time on understanding the positioning of it. A lot of people, just because you moved early, go back to 1999, 2000.com. There was a lot of people that jumped in. It bust. Them NFTs gonna go to zero. People gonna be caught with bad hands, bro.
But see, your mind frame is totally different because you're looking at it as the whole pie. People that's jumping on it now looking at slices. Oh yeah, I could just, and like you said, they don't even own it. You gonna figure out a way how I can own my stuff to take it to another level.
If you can sell an NFT, cool. But buying NFTs, you get caught with the bag, bro. You get caught with.
See, that's how
I
don't want to take no more. I took enough L's.
That's why I asked you too, because I know you're such a historian,
right.
and that I think you don't even want to go in there. You know what I'm saying?
No way, because I ain't got time for no more L's. I don't want to take a chance. Everything I do now is kiss.
But they're gonna want once they get to the avatar space and people can dress their avatars. You already can do it on some of these apps. They're gonna want the starter stuff, and Ty Mopkins gonna go in there. But you go in there in your own time.
I'll let my son handle that for me.
Yeah, that's true.
So that could be his bridge because he's into stuff like that. So that could be his avenue. Me. No. I took enough L's to, everything for me is just simple now, Dave. It's simple, David. It's just, and that's how I got to be. It's an old acronym, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And that's me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to jump out the gate. I'm not trying to turn the wheel into a box. It's a wheel. We're going to put better rubber on the wheel.
Well, again, bro, that's why I appreciate you, and I feel that simplicity from you. I feel connected to my generation when I see you, and that is powerful from the nostalgic standpoint. I don't think you ever really maybe even knew and thought about it from this way, but you really offer healing to a lot of people. Now, obviously, there's a such thing as being stuck in an era, and over nostalgia.
Oh my God!
But for the most part, you keep up with the times. You know what's going on, and you giving people something that we've been missing, and that's a small measure of peace from our past.
Well, I have to, Dave, because this is all I know. I don't know how to work on cars. I can't be a mechanic. I don't know how to build a house, so I can't be a construction worker. But this right here, I know this.
Yeah, and that's another last thing, powerful thing to end on, is that you're doing something that a lot of people don't get to do.
Right.
You're passionate about the 90s, sports, Detroit. You're really passionate about that. You're not creating content. You're just documenting who you are.
That's it. And I come from the 12,000 block of Roseline and did programs with the Detroit Pistons and did programs with the NFL, NBA. And I just want somebody to know that people always say, have I had the opportunity to leave Detroit? Yes. And I tell people all the time, but I never left Detroit because Detroit never left me. They always supported everything I've done. And I owe it to them because I want that next generation. I want that kid to know that you can come from the 12,000 block of Roseline. You can make an impact in this industry and in this world.
And that's it, bro.
We can drop the mic now?
Mic drop.
Let's go.
Roseline, Conley.
There you go.
What up, though? Peace.
Check it in.
All right, bro.
All right.
You've been listening to the Inner Wealth Podcast on EYL.
Get out the matrix and live.
Theme song produced by Be Ready for West Coast Creations. I am Razcast, reminding you to take action, be proactive, be congruent. Get out of the matrix, get your mind right. We've automated mental health at inception. Join the movement. Inner Wealth Podcast. Inner Wealth Podcast. Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.